Okay, so what got you interested in coaching?
Uh, Mainly getting better.
Sure.
I'm I'm looking at hopefully getting into like the scrim scene, joining some teams.
Sure.
Um, and yeah, I've always just found competing very fun.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Sounds good. So, break me down your Overwatch background. How long have you been playing the game?
I was a beta player when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think it was after season I think it was season 4 of Overwatch 1 where I kind of dwindled off of it. I came back like once every few seasons for a few weeks and then just called it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think it was a couple months before Overwatch 2 came out, I was trying to get geared to go before Overwatch 2 came out because I was actually pretty hyped for that.
Sure.
And then I've
Sure.
just been hard grinding for like a year now, I think.
Okay. So, what's allowed you to or helped you to stay? Because obviously you've had a hit or miss relationship up until this point. Why are you sticking around now? What is it about the game that's like kept your interest more?
Actually, I think I have a better competitive mindset this time around. I was about 16, I think, when Overwatch 1 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and didn't quite have I had more of a blame the game and like things I didn't understand mindset
Mm-hmm.
rather than learning from mistakes and being like, okay, I did that wrong. That's why I died
Right.
there. No
Right.
need to get frustrated. I'm just gonna get tilted and play worse, right?
Right, right, right. So what helped that personal development? What happened?
I started playing fighting games, whereas
Ah,
the only thing to blame is myself.
ah, gotcha,
Mhm.
gotcha. So personal development through fighting games. That's actually pretty funny. Makes a lot of sense too. So you're back. You're a DPS player. So were you a DPS player historically in Overwatch One when you did play as well?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. What is
Genji
it?
main through and through.
Welcome to the club. Everybody I know is a Genji main. I swear. Okay. Yeah. I mean, literally, the only reason I'm doing this is because of Genji. Literally, I went to a friend's house and he's like, "You should play this game." This is like beta or something. I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Just try it." And I was like, "Oh man, this guy's really fun." I got play of the game and everything. It was like I don't even know what the MMR was like. It was like 500 MMR, and it was I got play the game with Dragon Blade at Genji my first ever time playing it, and I was like, oh man! And I never played first person shooters, so I was like, all right, I'm playing Genji. That's it. Um,
It's just so cool.
oh,
You
it's just
can't
so
not
cool.
once you get the taste.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, looking through the form here, Masters 5. Obviously, it's been about 3 weeks since you filled out the form. Is that about where you're at
Mhm.
now?
I'm Diamond 3 now.
Okay,
I kind of took a bit of a chill on the ranked grind.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you hope to get out of the session? Path forward to better and deepen understanding of characters, consistency, strategy, and game strategy. Sleep minimum 7, almost never go below, most times 8 hours. Brilliant. Long term, short term goals. Short term, I want to break into high masters. Long term, I want to be a consistent top 500 player and play competitively on a team, as you were mentioning earlier. Although I know I'm a long ways away from that. Well, you're not as far as you
Actually
think.
looked into it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I looked into it and I didn't know there was like Diamond Masters
mate,
teams, stuff
there's
like that. I
bronze
thought it was just
teams.
top 100. Yeah.
you know, the
I'm
higher rank
actually
that
in the
you go,
works
the
of
better it
joining a team.
is. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm actually in the works of joining a team pretty deep into tryouts here.
Nice, dude.
They seem
Congratulations.
pretty interested, so
Nice, nice. Congrats. Good luck with that. Like that's where it gets good because I think you're at SR now where it's probably scrimming once or twice a week as well. So
Mhm.
that'll be fun. Yeah, and I think like obviously the higher rank you go, the more serious they are. So there's more. It's a better experience generally. But yeah, there's no reason waiting around. What are you trialing as? Just like a flex DPS projectile hit
Oh yeah,
scan?
yeah.
Just kind of
Flex.
flex. Okay, okay, makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay,
So far,
so
it's been mostly May, just because like Junker Queen. But
yeah.
on maps like Circuit, I'll play Hanzo, or
Okay.
if we need
Okay.
dive, I'll go Genji.
What do you think about May?
Uh, Strong.
Yeah.
I think she's easy to use in a scrim because she doesn't require so much of my brain to use like Genji does.
Sure.
So I just like throw a wall, call the wall, and then we just rush
Sure.
Junker Queen.
Sure.
And then, yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So, training schedule right now. About how much are you playing per day, per week, as it is now?
Per day is a little inconsistent. Per week, I'd probably go 5, 6, maybe 8 hours a week.
Okay. Okay. So 8 hours a day.
Those. Sorry.
So 5 to 6 hours a day. You said.
Yeah, about that.
Okay. Okay. So plenty of training time. And how is that training time spent, scheduled?
A lot of it the past couple weeks have been scrims. Um, Other than that, just mess around with comp with my friends.
Okay. Okay. How does that usually go?
The scrims or the comp?
Comp.
Um, if I'm soloing DPS, then I'll just like warm up and then just queue for probably a couple of hours.
Okay.
If it's messing around with my friends, I'll be on support or tank because I'm a little high on DPS to play with them.
Okay. Okay. So, optimal training schedule. Let's talk that. Yeah, you've heard me talk about this before in any of my videos or previous sessions. Have you?
Oh,
sorry. My phrasing here is not as clean as my sock drawer. So, have you heard me talk about like training schedule before?
I don't think so.
Okay, so basically, here's what you're going to go for: deliberate practice, 2 to 3 hours a day of deliberate, focused, with goals practice, whether that's in ranked solo queue or in scrims. And the reason why that's important is even when you're playing for longer periods of time, the broad, blasé, just playing the game isn't going to provide a lot of big boost of learning because you're not putting enough energy into it. You're not putting enough focus into it. And so what I want you to do is, especially the first 2 to 3 hours of your playing, have specific goals in the heroes that you're playing. Go into it with as much energy as you can. Keep yourself focused. Take short breaks between queues. And then when that timer is done, 2.5, 3 hours, whenever, then you can play for fun. You can play with friends or whatever like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But I want as much energy and as focus as you can. Now, if it's a scrimmage, the scrimmage obviously gets more of a priority for that practice time. So, for example, if you have a scrim at so-and-so time, I wouldn't be playing rank for 4 or 5 hours before the scrimmage necessarily, because by the time the scrim comes around, you're kind of tired. You're going to really try, but you're not going to have the same level of energy and focus. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So even when you're like off-rolling with friends because you're too high of a rank, you would try to make that be something that's later rather than earlier, because that's not practice time, that's fun time, right? Even just the nature of the fact that you're off-rolling means that it doesn't really matter. Like you could play Overwatch 12 hours a day. I wouldn't recommend it, but the first 2 to 3 hours have to be actually focused practice, and then everything else, bro. You play Mystery Host for 9 hours. I mean, it doesn't even matter. Like, but the first 2 to 3 hours, that's where the real improvement, that's where the real focus comes into play. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you warm up as it is?
I do. Yes.
What do you do?
I normally jump into Vaxta for about. I do about 5 minutes per character that I'm looking to practice that day. Normally ends up being Cass and Genji.
Okay.
Lately I've been doing Hanzo as well, and then I do a round of free for all deathmatch until I feel like fluent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
And I'll hop into ranked.
So how long does that usually take in total? Like 20 minutes?
So it's about 10-ish minutes in Vaxta, and then probably another 10 in free for all.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think there's harsh diminishing returns for Genji and Vaxta, but I think it's okay. It's for 5 minutes. It's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then, any questions about training schedule or structure?
You said to play for 2 hours a day of focused, deliberate practice.
2 to 3 hours. Yeah, I think you could probably push 3 hours, especially if you get good sleep. But go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like I missed a note in there. I am head back in the bot.
Yeah. If any of those questions come up, you can just message me. But yeah, 2 to 3 hours. Make sure that your scrimmage, whether it's ranked or scrimmage, that's the time that you really want to be putting in as much focus as possible, and then playing after that just for fun. It's fine.
I remember now. The for scrims, how long do you think I should warm up before that? Because I feel like that's a little higher intensity.
I would say what you could do is you could do your Vaxo warm up 20 minutes, then play like 2 ranked games, take like a 10-minute break, and then go into your scrim.
Okay.
So that way you get like 30-45 minutes of your focus practice, and then the scrim kind of finishes it out. And then after the scrimmage, if you want to play a little bit more ranked, you could maybe play a couple more intense games and then probably call it for the night, or at least call it for your intense practice, and then go into your Mercy roleplay custom games. But yeah, I think that's something around that ballpark is somewhere to aim for. Like Overwatch League players, that's why most teams generally only scrimmage around 2 blocks a day, and if they're scrimmaging 3 blocks a day, then there's almost like just like zero VOD review, right? Like there's like peaked out, and I think 3 scrim blocks a day isn't that great, but yeah. Anyway, okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so all that set. Last question from your form. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? You say consistency seems to be a big issue for me. Often I play very well, but struggle to replicate it. I feel like my mechanics are actually quite strong with Cassidy and Ashe. However, Genji could use some work. Consistency issues swapping from Genji and Cass mid-game. Shocker, right? I mean, it's hard. So the way to improve your consistency is your training schedule being consistent, your sleep schedule being consistent, your mentality being consistent, and then also accepting at least the majority of your consistency is completely, you can't affect it. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I think that there's ways that you can increase the odds that you will be more consistent, and you could definitely remove the outliers, but you can't fix it. You can't fix it. You just have to improve the odds that you are more focused and you are better rested, and then let the rest just go, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. You can't make yourself better that way, but you can reduce the window of consistency.
Right. How bad it can be. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would also look at like when you're saying that like I'm taking breaks from the ranked grind and stuff like that, like, and you know, you've also have a track record of kind of being on and off of the game. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is going to make the inconsistency a little bit tougher, right? So it doesn't mean that you don't do that. Don't take breaks from the game. Just understand that a consequence of that is going to be the inconsistency. So if you take a break from the game because you need it, I get it. I take breaks from the game too. I barely play at all nowadays, right? And when I play, I get a little bit irrationally frustrated. Man, I'm not as good anymore, but I'm an idiot. Don't be like me. Don't be an idiot. Recognize that like I'm going to be a little bit clunky. That's okay. Cut yourself some slack. Get back into it. Don't worry about it. Because the worst thing you do would be like, oh, I'm super inconsistent. Then you're just compounding the problem, right? Because now you're getting, not only are you inconsistent, but now you're also frustrated. So yeah, it's a lose-lose there. Make sense?
Perfect, yeah.
Easier said than done, but yeah, don't get too upset over it. Okay, do you have any other questions or anything else you want to go over before we hop into gameplay?
The code I have for today is it's a scrim VOD.
Sure.
Nope. That's good.
If that's what you want to look at and want to improve at, then that's what we will look at.
Awesome.
Yeah, totally works. Now, this is a team that you're trialing with, not for sure with, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, this was our second game of our first scrim together, so it's not crazy fluid, but
that's fine.
I did see, so I play Genji and Hanzo, who are 2 characters that I want to improve.
Brilliant.
In that
Brilliant.
environment.
Okay. I will try to avoid getting into the macro of like the matchups, because I would like to look at things that are more generally applicable regardless of matchup macro, and stuff that will be applicable in solo queue ranked. However, if you do have any questions specifically about like this matchup or how do I play with this comp, just let me know and I will answer those questions. And you can either copy and paste or you can just read it out, whatever's easier for you.
I'll just throw it in there.
There you go. Okay, get things started here. Okay. And I was gonna ask who you are, but that is a dumb question. Okay, let's take a look here. So, Hanzo, what are you looking at with Hanzo? What are you trying to accomplish? What are some priorities of like, I have to make sure that I do that, or I need to make sure that I'm doing this?
Shield break for the Sigma.
Sure.
I feel like is a priority.
Sure.
As well as scouting for the Widow.
Sure.
Scouting for our Widow.
Sure.
On her behalf.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. So that was a very scrimmage mindset answer. Mm-hmm. I want you to give me a very broad answer.
The one shot is important.
Okay. How do you leverage the one shot? Dumb question. Aim, right? Making sure that you're shooting at targets that are one-shottable, right? Okay.
Yes.
Sonic. What about Sonic?
I don't know a good answer to this.
All right, that's good. If you don't have a good answer, that means it's an even better question. So come up with a good answer, or as good of a good answer that you can come up with.
I'd probably just go with scouting for
Great.
My team.
Great. Where is scouting most important? Do you know where that Sigma is on the enemy team? Like this is where we can look at it here. Do you know where the Sigma is?
I think at this moment I didn't.
Okay, but you will know as soon as you turn this corner, right? So where should Sonic be right now?
I'd throw it on that little corner where.
Sure, because there isn't anything that's a mystery. In fact, all it's used for is setting up your shots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's move to here. This gets a little bit more interesting, right? Because do you know where they're going to be at all times? Maybe. Maybe not. What about top right? What about back right? What about bottom right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a little bit more nuance with it.
I think top right is where I would normally prioritize my Sonic. Because the Widow tends to sit up there.
Sure.
Or in that back balcony.
Ooh, Nelly. Messy, right? No idea. Could be top, could be bottom, could be back left, could be back right. This is where you will be spending time sonicking things that you're not even sure if there's anybody there, but you sonic it just in case, right? So there's two ways of using Sonic. Information, or for information to help set up my shots, okay? One is used when you know where everything is. You don't need to do anything, so you're just going to use it to line up your shots. Case in point, right? The second is when you don't know everything and you need that extra bit of information, even if the answer is 0. In other words, you sonic a flank, there's nobody there, still useful to know that, right? Okay, Storm Arrow. What do you think about Storm? What do you use with Storm Arrow?
Shield break and 1v1s.
Mm-hmm. Your ultimate?
Shutting down specific ultimates. In this case, it would be like that.
Yeah, works for me.
Works for me. Rush.
Sure. Anything just to zone a space or zone an ultimate. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look. Nice Hanzo skin.
Thank you.
And our first mistake is the Sonic. All right.
Yeah.
You don't need information there. You don't need to line up shots there. You should be able to predict this. So first mistake. Okay, let's keep going.
This Sonic would actually probably be a better place where that Hanzo is.
Uh-huh. It's okay. Because you're about to do that. Surely. Yeah, there you go. I like the wall climb. It allows you to kind of come from a different angle, so it might mess up his crosshair placement. I assume that's why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't like this, to be honest with you. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I want you to be very careful about what you're doing here, because you are now in very, very, you're close, okay? Very high risk of a lot of things going wrong here, whether it's dynamite or spam. You want to maintain your distance whenever you can. And I know that you're thinking, oh, my team is over here shooting, I want to set up maybe an off angle, but your Ramatra's already setting up the off angle for you. It's okay if you want to stay here and just shoot. Because now, who do you think they're going to be putting attention onto right now? Ramatra. So then that's going to allow you to hit better and easier shots from the flank and not necessarily taking the angle here. You can take the angle here. We want you to take the angle here, just not necessarily right now. Make sense?
Yes.
Sonic there is fine.
Actually, never quite thought about the Ramatra being the off angle there instead of me.
Right. Now, we're choosing our battles here because while that was a little bit of a nuanced thing, this is not nuanced. This is silly. Let's put it that way. Okay.
I've tried this room a couple times at this point in the map, and
it's okay.
I'm not sure how I feel about it.
It's okay. The reason why it feels bad right now. Well, you tell me. Why does it feel bad right now? Do you have any guess?
When I peek the Sigma spam, so easy to just chip.
Why is the Sigma spamming you?
He has nothing else to focus on. Yeah.
So keep that in mind. My main problem with this room is that I'm more concerned about Sonic, actually. There it is, right? So now this becomes pretty spooky. So, yeah. Less of a problem with the room, though. Winston? Surely that will be the solution.
Oh yeah, I think we're swapping we're swapping the dives here.
Do you play Hanzo on the defense? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, then we will stay on topic.
Okay. I also play. I swapped to Genji on the offense, and I would like to take a look at that as well, if that's okay. But if we have to like circle around because we're focused.
We'll circle around. Yeah, don't worry.
Alright.
Sonic at the top left seemed okay, at least for information on the Echo. Now, this is the interesting thing here. Where should you be right now?
Dropped behind the bridge.
No.
No.
What are you looking for with positioning with Hanzo? I know I'm asking you questions that you probably don't really know the answer to, but that's why I'm asking them.
I'd assume an angle to better the one-shot potential.
And what kind of an angle do you want? Because technically this is an off angle right here, right? So why are you not here? Are you a Reaper?
No.
Right. So
then a wheel further back, right?
Right. So what about here?
Not bad.
What about here? Or what about here?
Actually, here feels a little better.
Now I know the Winston's there, but I don't care. Take an angle. If he jumps you, lunge out. Take an angle. You are incredibly easy to ignore and hide from by this backline and by this tank line. Because I've got uno, dos, tres, and unlike earlier where your Sigma or Ramatra was on an angle here, it's not happening, right? You're all stacked in a giant, tight, ugly little clump.
Yeah, they know exactly where to hide.
So it's too easy to hide from. And look at their HP bars. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full HP bars. It's a problem.
Oh, that was huge. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm trying to not look smug, but I'm doing so unsuccessfully. This is, I mean, why did that happen? Why did that happen?
It's like brawl poke comp.
Right.
Not a good idea.
Did anybody on your team take an angle at all?
No.
No, you guys all clumped up in a group, allowed them to take every angle away from you, and then died in a absolute massacre, right? And that's your fault. Not just your fault, but your fault. Take an angle. Be brave. Bait the dive on yourself. Lunge up. Your team could peel you. Is there any information that you needed from the Sonic Arrow outside of lining up shots easier?
No.
Then we're good to go. Nicely done. Righto. Going Rambo. Right.
Yeah.
That's all right. Every good DPS player is like a little bit of a feeder sometimes. That's the way. That's the way it balances out, you know. Okay. You could Sonic their Storm Arrow that. That's okay. Now, this is why angles matter. Would you describe this position as an off angle?
It would depend on where my tank is, I feel like, no.
Kind of, but look at your on an Ash, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. So then where do you think the Echo and Genji are going to go? Or the Winston?
On an Ash.
Right, so then what does that mean for you? Kovacs.
Like it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what we want. I mean, you could, and there it is. Like right now, they're all focused on these squishies who are shrieking and crying, but you're just chilling, right? That's what we want. That's what we want. You attack. It's like an alternative take on the Hydra, right? Where you instead of cutting off one head, another grows back. You attack one head, the other head bites you, right? That's what it's all about, right?
Alternatively, instead of jumping back, if I went forward when the Winston jumped in, how do you feel like that would have gone? Like from here?
I would feel that you would be in a Reaper situation. You're too close to every. You see how close they are to the Genji and to even the backline walking forward and to the Winston? Too close.
Oh, yeah.
That in theory would work is if we had a little bit of a demolition and just blew a hole in this wall and knocked the entire building down, and then you were able to like kind of swing wide in your flank here. You see this? Imagine if you shoot through walls. That would work, but you can't. The theory of what you're asking though is correct. It's just not applicable on the map. Because remember, you want to take an angle, but you need an angle where there's some range. Okay, let's walk. I pretend I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, good. Back off. I mean, at this point in time, just back off. Set up an angle over here. If you can't get here in time, then just back off, because there's just no point holding here. You're just a sitting duck. Congratulations, you now know where the copy is. I think the dragon is okay-ish, but the problem obviously is, again, we've sat here instead of setting up an off angle here, and so now we are in the herd that is getting dove. You see? You're making it too easy for this Winston. You're making it too easy for this Echo copy with this Sigma shield. They were blocking and diving too many threats at once because you guys were clumped like little rabbits. You see what I'm saying? Isolate yourself within the LOS of each other. That way you're able to peel off yours. That being said,
I don't think I noticed that in game.
very amusing. Okay. Now, you're now at a point in time. Okay, first off, let's just enjoy this one.
I think I wanted to hit the Winston.
Yeah. You're at a point in time, though, along that line of thought, where your information from Sonic is actually very important right now, right? There is flank right, there is flank underneath, there's flank far left. We need information. And what you could do is you don't even have to Sonic early. What you could do is go, I want to take this flank here, so I'm going to Sonic here. I want to take this flank here. I'm going to Sonic here. So you can not only use Sonic for information to give information on where the enemy team is, you can use Sonic to help yourself decide about whether I can take a flank or not. When a 1v1 on a flank. Do you see what I'm saying?
Using Sonic as a flank setup.
As a flank setup, right. It is a tool used to allow you to control an angle, right? So you think right now, where do you want to be in the next, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds? What do you think?
I like that idea a lot.
So then where do you want to be?
I would go the left route.
Sure, you could go
Put the
left.
Sonic where you
You
said
could
it
go
would be,
left.
and then I have the wall to climb out.
Yeah, you could also go right and play up around here. Like, I mean, depending on how the fight goes. I mean, you might not also know. You might have to just wait and see. So then let's see what happens. Hopefully you get your Sonic in time. And we do. So then now, where do you go and what do you do? Based off of what you told me.
There's only one person on cart.
Shoot them.
So I feel like we could, yeah.
Right? So you walk forward here. You could even Sonic this little corner here and start shooting cart. And then if that Genji pushes you, you back up. You now have Sonic information and you can peek again and kill him. Or if this Genji gets help from Ana or help from Mercy or Echo tries to flank you, you'll know. Like, you are too scared here. This is a long distance. You have Sonic, you have Storm, you have lunge, you have range, you have an angle. Don't be so scared. You see what I'm saying? Be more aggressive on this because you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna hit those shots. But the irony is that you're not hitting these shots either. This position is, you're limiting your options here. You're limiting your options. So you could play much more aggressively on dealing with that Echo. Or with that Genji, excuse me. Surely. Nice. Nice.
I feel like in that fight, there was a bit of a instance of not taking time with my shots. Like waiting for that opportunity for when they're moving in a predictable pattern.
Here?
To shoot instead of just shooting.
Like here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. It's something to keep an eye on, if nothing else. Maybe this one too.
Taking time with my shots there?
Yeah, just a little bit on the Genji as he's walking forward. What's the mistake here?
Running in there.
Wow, also, why on earth are you chasing and focusing down the Genji when there's literally Echo and a Mercy in front of you and an Ana also rotating? Trade the backline.
I think I was more trying to avoid the Genji. And once he was out of the dash, I saw he was, I guess, vulnerable.
Then stop looking at
he is nanoed.
Right. Look at this Mercy.
So I'm not gonna try.
Look at this Echo. Look at this poor Ana. Win the fight. Trade backline. You only shoot the Nano Genji if there's nothing else to shoot.
Okay.
Ignore him. Especially now that you're actually pursuing him, right? And the funny thing is he chokes it. I mean, watch this one, right? Watch this dash. He dashes into the ledge, right? You literally give him somebody to shoot at. Yeah. Right? And this fight is very winnable if either this Ana or this Mercy dies, but they don't because you're shooting the Nano Genji. Ah! Ash is just the goat. Maybe?
So I guess if I'm gonna run from the Genji, I don't have to look at him while I run. And I can
well, once you had already created distance between yourself and Genji, then your job was to ignore him. And to focus on easier kills. You could also have argued in that instance there, when they have Nanoblade, as soon as you see him start to walk forward, you should have just created a cheese angle, maybe even hid in here. And gone for a, like, you know, Nanoblade, right? Don't give him targets to reset on. Yeah, I mean, that's just unfortunate. Okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I think at this point we kind of just halfway call it. Do I play?
Okay,
Yeah, I play
so let's look at your Genji. Yeah, so let's, before we move along though, Hanzo, what are some skills that you need to practice with Hanzo from what we've seen?
Flank setups. Probably putting a little more strategic thought into my Sonics, I think, are key. Off angles as well.
Win duels or get scouting information. Nothing particularly new here.
Yeah.
I think those two things are worth putting time into, but nothing earth-shattering. You want to look at your Genji?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's take a look. I was there when this strategy was first created.
I love this flank.
I remember the first day it was utilized in Alpha Scrims in Overwatch League. I think it might have been, I don't remember which Genji. It might have been Proper. It might have been Proper who did this one first. I can't remember, to be honest with you. Nice. Not so nice. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
It's okay. Move along. I didn't see a thing, don't worry. Now, Genji and Hanzo are brothers because they both want to take angles, but the difference between the angles that they want to take are what?
The range?
Mm-hmm. So what range of angles for you?
Closer.
Closer. So then what angle can you be taking right now to get a closer off angle?
The statue.
Mm-hmm. Can you stabilize in statue without dying?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Mini health back, good cover, LOS of your team. So what you're going to do is, at this point in time, as soon as your team is walking forward, you're going to dash right to the health back over here. Shoot, deflect, hide if you need to. If they push you, you should be able to punish them. But you sit here, then you wait for your dash, and then what do you do?
Assess the situation.
Assess the situation.
Dash in, confirm a kill, or dash out if it's
right.
Too much.
Right. If you're not under a lot of pressure, you can continue to rotate, right? To here. And then wrap. From here. And then actually finish the kill, likely, from that position. Think sequentially, right? One then the other, one then the other. So right side is not claimed, but now you have left side. That's okay. Left side is still good. So where should you be peeking right now? Not here.
No.
Where?
Positioning of the window tells me left, because it's a little harder to get the LOS from the window there.
Mm-hmm. You could also dash through to here, deflect, tuck inside, and set up and hide, right? You need to be careful of Sigma spam with a window, but it's at least a possibility, right?
Yes.
So a lot of what we're seeing is like, well, what would we do if, you know, fill in the blank? But I think it's still, even though these fights are just kind of lost to just craziness and nothing's happening, it's still important to think about it that way. It's good. It's a good thinking exercise.
Yes.
Walk forward. It's okay. Fight again was lost. You had the right idea. You were able to wrap around and close the distance. Maybe.
A little oblivious.
That's okay. Let's go. Yeah. Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Let's keep going. you have any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
I think
we will have time for another replay code after this is done, by the way. But keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think the positioning on the end of first point there is interesting. I normally tend to hug the left wall.
Mm-hmm.
Swinging wide is something that I'd actually benefit from quite a bit.
Sure.
Especially up those stairs in that last fight there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good cover, health back, access to backline on the high ground. Something to consider. And worst case scenario, you take the angle and you spam tank from close range. Create a bit of a crossfire. They have a rather ugly composition. Reaper Hanzo. Nice shots. Okay. Now, when we're talking about off angles, we're not just talking about opportunities for you to dive, are we? We're also looking at opportunities for you to spam. So where is a good spam angle for you? Be specific from where the cart is or where the fight is happening.
Taking the angle on that Hanzo seems like a decent idea.
You could.
Although I don't think the escape route isn't the same as if I were on defense.
You could dash through this Hanzo, right click, and then deflect out. That would be a very high risk, high reward dive centric. What would be a more passive hold this position, put out pressure, look for an opportunity position? Hint, you're very close to it.
Yeah, just the left.
Yeah.
On the green tree there.
Just sit here, you know, just sit here. Look for opportunities. Yep, okay. Notice how close you are? Right?
Yes.
That's what we want to see. I mean, that's just a matter of mechanics, right? That kill needs to be finished.
Missed the combo.
Yeah. Also, your monkey's not exactly doing you any favors. Not sure what he was expecting to jump without bubble, but that's okay. Let's keep going. Oh. Okay, well.
That was interesting.
Moving on rather quickly here. Good. I like this padding. Oh my days.
I should have kept going right, I think.
Right? I think so too, right? Obviously this fight is pretty much lost, but if you're gonna like roll the dice from like here, or even like look for a flank around here, right? Maybe there's an opportunity to get a trade here.
I think
at this point in time, just get out.
Genji.
Yeah, you need to die here. You need to die or get out. You're staggering.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, disaster. Okay. Do you have another replay code? Before I wrap things up with Genji, it might be more helpful if we look. Well, really, whatever hero you want to look at. The rank code, I don't really care.
Let's see. I have a new Queen Street with May and Cassidy.
If you would like to look at some Maycast, we can do that too.
Sure, let's do May Cassidy.
Okay, let's do it.
Actually, if we're gonna do May, we might as well do Kingsborough.
Okay. So for Genji, obviously not as much footage, but if you were to like, let's say just 1 point to work on with Genji, what would you say?
Stable positions are something that I don't think or like more risky stable positions, like that statue health back area that aren't as anchored to my team as it is just like standing with my team. Right.
It's not hard flanking. It's not standing inside your team. It's taking an angle with cover, with heal support, and then looking for either dives or spam pressure with that position. Okay. Let's look at some May. Is this ranked?
No, this is also the.
Okay.
This is the same Grim Knight.
Sounds good.
This game.
Close. Nice shots. Nice. Good use of your cooldowns. Obviously, the Mei wall misses, but I think the intention there was good. And I also like the pressure on the DPS.
Something I do notice watching this back, for the first point, I spend a little too much time on the Tracer, I think.
I disagree. I disagree. Look at this right here. You have to hit these shots.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hit these shots.
I think I hit it a little later.
You have to hit this shot. You have to hit the shot. She's not even blinking. You have to hit the shot. 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 Your job is you're like, okay, well, I should be putting more emphasis on frontline. Well, first off, there is no frontline happening right now. Second off, you could shoot Junker Queen till the cows come home and she's not going to die. Now, you can freeze her and slow her, and that's somewhat helpful. There are times where that's useful, but a lot of the times the reason why you're running Mei in these comps is oftentimes to wall the queen and kill the DPS. It should be equal priority for you to slow and freeze queen as it is to shoot DPS. It is not more important for you to freeze queen. You see, the problem is with focusing queen is you let their DPS do whatever they want. They put too much pressure on your backline. And so even if you, quote unquote, win the queen trade, you're going to lose every flank and angle trade. Their DPS are going to murder you, right? The other thing that you have to keep in mind as well is that queen with Carnage and even just a good headshot is really good at forcing your ice block. And that means you're very, very fragile. Does that make sense? So the problem here is that your mechanics, I don't know if it's your mechanics. I don't even know if it's your mechanics. I think you're just mashing the mouse one button. I need you to show some trigger discipline, you know? Take the time, take an extra second, hit a shot. This shot has to hit. I don't care if it's a body shot. I don't care. You need to hit the shot here. Like, this Tracer is
a little.
Go ahead.
Sorry. For me, it feels a little different when compared to like Hanzo, where I can charge it and hold it. Whereas it feels like I kind of have a window.
It's weird.
Window to aim with Mei.
Yeah, it's weird. For me, it's different, right? So but this needs to be hitting, okay? If this Tracer is here, it's probably worth a couple pot shots. Then the queen walks, or your queen walks, then we wall, and then there's some nuance. Then it's like, well, you know, I could see you freezing the queen being good value, but right now this Tracer is totally disrespecting you. And I think, like, if you can't at least hit body shots and force to translocate, recall, blink, receive support from Kiriko, then you're trolling the lobby. So I think your attention on the Tracer is fine, but you need to hit shots. And also, this wall needs to be out now, right? So you hit the shot here. If I hear a shout or I see or hear a push, wall needs to be right now. Wall her off, and then go back to shooting at Tracer, or at this point, I guess, just freezing the queen, right?
Yeah, it's a big gap free wall.
It's way too slow here. Way too slow. And that's going to put you guys in a bad footing. So you can help the queen trade by walling queen and then shooting other targets. If there's nothing else, then shoot the queen and freeze the queen. But now you're walling and pushing, but your team is still staggering from the horrific cooldown trade that you just took. You see what I'm saying? You're in no position to go for these backliners at all. If this was a better team, they would have gone like, and just run you over and killed you. I don't even know why they backed up. Thank you. Wall, too slow. Okay. Who should you be trying to shoot right now?
I don't think I know that the Tracer's on the left there. I don't think.
But you need to look.
Maybe
right?
I called it, but yeah.
Yeah, you need to look. Because if she's really not peeking here, then the answer is queen. If she is peeking, the answer is Tracer.
Okay. Too much queen focus.
I mean, you get Kiriko shot like, bam, right? Okay. So it's a little bit unfortunate. I will say that this is a little bit another one of those circumstances where I beg you to stop looking at queen. Like right now, who's the real threat for you right now? There's not one answer, is there? You could focus Lucio right now, right? Yes. You could turn for Tracer. You could force Sombra Translocator. It's just not worth the effort, right? Mei is fine versus Queen, because Wall is really good, and Frieza and her is really good. But that doesn't mean that nothing else is worth your time. And I think right now what we're seeing is that you get a little bit too stuck. You're too slow to Wall, and you get stuck focusing Queen. Or you get stuck focusing Tracer, but you're just mashing down the right click, and you're not actually hitting the shots. All little details to kind of keep an eye on. Wall. Too slow in the wall, right? Like the wall, I know you're EMP'd, but like right...
Oh, okay.
Right now, wall. Right now. Wall, you're in Kitsune. It's already out. Use it. She's cooked. She's completely cooked.
I think when I looked down there, I think that's when I tried to wall, but I never EMP'd.
Gotcha.
But if I was faster on it, yes.
Yeah, that's alright. Relax.
And this is the point where that's why I say I was spending too much time on the Tracer.
I think there was fine. I mean, you had to, right? You had to. She was on you, but you just need to hit the shots. Wall? Oh no. Unlucky. Oh, even better. Let's go. Nice. Nice. I kind of like playing Mei. I don't know about you.
Mei is fun.
Mei is fun.
I never thought I'd be a Mei.
It's
player.
Overwatch 2. It's Overwatch 2. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
I did not like Mei in Overwatch 1 at all, but Mei in Overwatch 2, very, very fun.
Now that I play Mei, I want the freeze back, but
yeah, see,
I
don't even care about the freeze. I love the right click so much. You're trolling. You're trolling.
Yes.
You're trolling. You should be where?
Behind the Queen.
Behind the Queen. Is a Tracer on a flank?
Yes.
Yes. Is she something that you can be helping with or concerned with right now?
No.
No. So then ignore her, focus on the Queen. But not here. Wait for them to turn the corner, or wait for your team to turn the corner. Either one. Trolling. Because even if you don't die here, you get your ice block forced. And you give their Queen time to break the wall and kite out before your Queen can push it. Massive timing issue there. That's okay. Surely we're alright. No. Never mind. We're screwed. Go for a squishy, don't freeze. Right click. Like in these situations, just look for a trade. Double dink. Alright. You have any questions so far, by the way? We're kind of cruising through this one.
No. Pretty straightforward so far.
Alright. Hit the wall off of your team's pushes, the enemy team's push, as quickly as you possibly can. Relax on the shots and Tracer. Keep going for them, but don't force yourself to go max speed. Don't over-prioritize Queen. Unless she's the only one, most aggressive one. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Very good. And then here, who should you be focusing on?
Lucio.
Right, or Cassidy, or as they walk forward. Right, exactly. Now that is something else. What on earth? I wouldn't be freezing though. I would be clicking, because you're not going to get any follow up on this kill, right? It's just you. So so he's just going to ride away, or you're going to get shot. So just go for the kill here. Play the corner and hit the shot. You'll get a better feel for it when you get more practice, but like generally the freeze is more of like a utility thing, or to finish off very highly mobile targets, right? Like that guy was too high in HP and it was just you, so it makes more sense to go for the kill with the right click there.
Go for focusing a Lucio or
a
Tracer.
Right.
Or no, not Tracer, because I can one shot, but
yeah, sure. It's like if a Genji dashes you and then is deflecting, you're gonna freeze. And then you're going to keep freezing because he's 1 HP, and why even take the risk of missing your shots when you can finish him off with freeze? But like, let's say if a Genji's dueling you at range, you'd right-click. Or if a Lucio's close, you're going to right-click. The only time, most of the time, your freeze is like a utility to help other people hit their shots. The DPS is good, But there are times like that where it's like, you know, he's just going to ride away. The only chance that you have of getting the kill is by bursting him. And the only burst that you have is through a right click headshot. So technically,
using it
go ahead.
More as a utility for my team than as a aim crutch.
Right. People look at the M1 and they say, oh, the M1 does more DPS than body shots with right click, therefore I should be M1ing. But they forget that because it's consistent and slow, it gives the enemy team opportunity to react and punish it. Mouse 2, if you hit a headshot, there's no time to react. It's over. Right? So that's just something to keep in mind. Gonna do a little flipperoni. Okay. Wallet. Ah!
This is tragic.
Totally fine. It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
I don't know what she was expecting there. You have ice block. That is pretty funny though. Honestly, if she gets around that corner, don't even wall her. Let her go. Because now you need the wall, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Did you see that? Oh, she just flicked it. Righto. I was like, where did she go?
I think my blizzards need some as well. I'm not sure.
Here's the problem with blizzards. It's the antibiotic grenade problem, where like you want to just hit everything, so then you hit nothing.
Oh yeah.
Right now, who's the blizzard for?
All of them.
Yeah, right. Pick a target. Who's it for? Blue hunk of glowing mass.
I feel like I could sandwich them.
You could
throw it a little deep.
If you threw it here, Cassie's dead. If you throw it here, you guarantee Queen to be dead. If you throw it here, there's a chance that both get out. You see what I'm saying? And that's exactly where you threw it.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, comboing with wall is really nice as well, but I can understand why that wasn't the case here. Because you just needed to let it rip, but something to consider. Let's watch one more fight. You got time for one more?
Sorry?
You got time for one more fight?
Oh, yeah. I got all the time in the world.
All right.
But...
Nice. Yes. Now you're a little bit forward, but not as bad. Now, freezing Queen here makes sense. Why?
We're calling for focus on Queen.
I don't care what your team's calling. Wall. Sometimes you don't follow the team call to help. Look at the Queen.
Using the...
Who's playing aggressively right now?
Oh, she's shouting. Lucio.
And? Queen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the rest of her team. And look at her. And tell me why you're focusing Queen.
You're gonna get no heals as well.
You see what I'm saying? Like, the problems with you focusing Queen were when this Tracer was like here, and the Lucio was even a little closer, and the Cassidy was like here, right? This Queen is playing way more aggressive than the rest of her team. You can make a good argument for focusing Lucio here too, but yet this is fine, right? Look at her. So focus Queen. And the freeze is good because you're going to slow her down to make it easier for the rest of your team to hit shots, right? Good freeze. I wouldn't be ice blocking that. If you know it's cast stick, remember it does only 120 now, so just absorb it if you can, and then ice block at the last possible second. Very high value freeze there, and the Lucio also walked into it too, so that was really good. So focus Queen when there's nothing else to focus. And that will happen often because Queen is going to be playing more aggressively than the rest of her team often, right? So I'm not saying don't focus Queen, but make her play aggressively for her to deserve your focus. Then probably freeze, because that's going to be really good. And then when there are other targets to shoot other targets. Wall as quickly as you can once the fight starts for utility, for value. Obviously, in this matchup, it's mostly going to be walling Queen. If you play Mei in ranked or in other matchups, it's going to be a lot more dynamic. And with your Blizzard, pick a target, kill the target. Make sense?
Yes.
Let's type these up. May, what are the skills you need to practice?
Taking time with my shots.
Take time with shots. What else?
Wall timing.
Wall timing? In what regard? What about your wall timing?
I'm getting a little antsy with them.
Relax.
Trying to force the opportunity.
Right. But use it as soon as brawl/fight initiates. So you were both early and very late. Something to keep an eye on. Okay? One more thing. Go ahead.
Is wall the fight starter, or is it...
No. The wall is the first important cooldown committed, but it is used in a response to your team pushing or the enemy team pushing. The W key with 0 cooldowns is the fight starter from either team, right? And the wall is usually the first cooldown used, but you don't wall then push, you push then wall. Or they push and you wall. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you try to push like wall first and then push, either the wall is going to be late and broken and kited out, or you're going to overextend and then get punished for trying to fish for a wall when you should have been fishing for a push as a team. Remember second point? You tried to go wall so that your team could push and then you died. Do you remember second point? When you tried to wall then push, but your team was so far away that they couldn't capitalize off of the wall. Wall is always the first cooldown used, but it's always following just a neutral W key, pressing the W key on your keyboard first. Or in response, like I said, to the enemy team pressing W. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
Single target ultimates, guaranteeing the kills, instead of trying to maximize at the risk of no value.
Yeah, exactly. Because you will catch more than one person with it, guarantee. But it's sometimes when you start to greed, it gets messy. So especially as you get to higher levels, people are going to be intelligent about the positioning. So single target freeze is even more important. And you'll still get the zoning value out of it as well for everybody else. Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Really good.
Glad to hear it. Remember the general stuff of like how you should be approaching playtime in terms of the first 2 to 3 hours and so on.